You know how many committees we have at Apple? We are organized like a startup. 0. We have no committees.
No committees.
We are organized like a startup. One person's in charge of iPhone OS software. One person's in charge of Mac hardware. One person's in charge of iPhone hardware engineering. Another person's in charge of worldwide marketing. Another person's in charge of operations. We're organized like a startup. We're the biggest startup on the planet. And we all meet for 3 hours once a week, and we talk about everything we're doing, the whole business. And there's tremendous teamwork at the top of the company, which filters down to tremendous teamwork throughout the company. And teamwork is dependent on trusting the other folks to come through with their part without watching them all the time, but trusting that they're going to come through with their parts. And that's what we do really well. And we're great at figuring out how to divide things up into these great teams that we have and all work on the same thing, touch bases frequently, and bring it all together into a product. We do that really well. And so what I do all day is meet with teams of people and work on ideas and solve problems to make new products, to make new marketing programs, whatever it is.
And are people willing to tell you you're wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, other than snarky journalists. I mean, people that work for you.
Oh, yeah. No, we have wonderful arguments.
And do you win them all? Or?
Oh, no, I wish I did. No, see, you can't. If you want to hire great people and have them stay working for you, you have to let them make a lot of decisions, and you have to be run by ideas, not hierarchy. The best ideas have to win.
So,
otherwise, good people don't stay.
But you must be more than a facilitator who runs meetings. You obviously contribute your own ideas.
I contribute ideas, sure. Why would I be there if I didn't? We come into work wanting to do the same thing today as we did 5 or 10 years ago, which is build the best products for people. You know, there's nothing that makes my day more than getting an email from some random person in the universe who just bought an iPad over in the UK and tells me the story about how it's the coolest product they've ever brought home, you know, in their lives. That's what keeps me going. And it's what kept me going 5 years ago. It's what kept me going 10 years ago when the doors were almost closed. And it's what will keep me going 5 years from now, whatever happens. So I don't see why you have to change if you get big. We've always had a very different view of privacy than some of our colleagues in the Valley. We take privacy extremely seriously. As an example, we worry a lot about location in phones. One of the reasons we have the curated app store. We have rejected a lot of apps that want to take a lot of your personal data and suck it up into the cloud. A lot. A lot of people in the Valley think we're really old-fashioned about this. And maybe we are, but we worry about stuff like this. Are we going to be moving more into cloud-based things? Sure. But
and doesn't that inevitably get you? No.
Privacy means people know what they're signing up for in plain English and repeatedly. That's what it means. I'm an optimist. I believe people are smart. And some people want to share more data than other people do. Ask them. Ask them every time. Make them tell you to stop asking them if they get tired of you asking them. Let them know precisely what you're going to do with their data. You know. It's really interesting. The opportunities of technology are huge for content owners, in my opinion. They always have been. As an example, the way that we market movies is undergoing a radical shift. It used to be that you spent a fortune running advertising on TV to run your trailers. Now, we can reach that same audience much more effectively on the web. Through whether it's Facebook, through whether it's targeting, targeted communication with loyalty groups, whatever it might be. You know, when we went to the music companies, we said, "Who is your customer?" And they said, "Oh, it's Best Buy and Target and Tower Records." They thought their distribution channel was their customer. You know, in the same way that people making movies might think that your movie houses are their customer, but they're not. Their customer is the viewer, just as the music company's customer was the listener. The music companies had no connection with their listeners whatsoever. And so what changed in the music industry was not the back end of the business, the A&R, the seeking out and developing of artists and talent over, you know, which is just as important now as it ever was. What changed was the front end of the business, the distribution and marketing became, was able to be done in a much more effective way, bypassing the distribution channel and going direct to the end user. And that's what's going to happen in visual media as well. And the marketing's going to get a lot more interesting, more precise, cheaper, efficient, but the content is going to be just as valuable, if not more valuable in the future. So what the studios need to do is is to embrace this new front end of the business, to start knowing who their customers are, and to start building mechanisms to communicate with them and tell them when their new product is coming out. And also to let them watch it wherever they want, whenever they want. The TV's going to lose until there is a viable go-to-market strategy. Otherwise, you're just making another TiVo. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the fundamental problem. It's not a problem with technology. It's not a problem of vision. It's a fundamental go-to-market problem.
A few years ago, you gave a commemoration speech at Stanford to the graduating class. Now, a few years later, and a couple years wiser, would you add anything else to that speech that you gave a couple years ago?
Good question. Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea. Probably I would just turn up the volume on it, because the last few years have reminded me that life is fragile.
But then I sat back and said to myself, I invented a motherfucker. I actually sat back when I was fat, nasty,